I had a stroke and that affected my depth perception.
I think we might have a solution for that.
Hey sir, you should try out our new 5S sensor. It straps to your foot and straps to your shoe, and when you're close to something, it will vibrate and tell you that you need to step up or down or out of the way of the object.
Wow, I can tell where the step is now.
Approximately 795,000 people in the United States suffer from stroke each year. Stroke is the third leading cause of long-term disability in the United States. It is the leading cause of death in the United States. Nearly 3/4 of all strokes occur in people over the age of 55. The risk of having a stroke more than doubles each year after the age of 65. On average, someone has a stroke every 40 seconds. The two types of stroke are ischemic stroke, which there's a clot in a different part of the body which stops blood flow to the brain. The other type of stroke is hemorrhagic, which is there's a blood clot in the brain, which then causes bleeding in the brain. It can either affect the left or right side of your brain. We studied right side stroke.
We specifically studied outcomes of right side strokes. Right side stroke can cause damage to the parietal lobe in the brain, which controls visual and spatial functions, such as judging the distance, position, size, and speed of objects. This means that people who have had a right side stroke often have trouble with depth perception and with judging where they are in relation to their surroundings. This makes it difficult for these patients to walk up or down stairs, bring food to their mouths, get dressed, and to perform every other day functions, or other everyday functions. Some patients may even try to read a book without realizing that it is upside down. We focused our solution on the problems associated with loss of depth perception due to right side stroke.
Depth perception is the ability to judge distances of objects. It is the ability of our eyes to focus in on an object and calculate approximately how close it is in relationship to our body. We determine depth perception by our brain interrupting visual cues. After a stroke, our eyes continue to see the same things. However, our brain is unable to process that information in order to give us the answer to how far or near an object is in relationship to us. People suffering from loss of depth perception have repeated difficulties with simple tasks such as walking up and down stairs, even bringing food to their mouth or brushing their teeth. Our solution helps stroke victims who have lost their depth perception to be more independent, self-sufficient, maintain dignity and pride.
This is our 5S system, which was a kit which cost about $16. Here's a cost analysis sheet. The cost analysis sounds bad. We looked for kits with an ultrasonic sensor which was compatible with a vibrator and a battery. We soon modified so it could have its own case connected to a battery and have a little vibrator. It can detect at about 1 foot away and it will vibrate. For more information, you can check our website, ultrasoundwalker.webs.com, which also has a YouTube video there. Would you like to try this out? Sure.
What do I need to do?
Just hold that in.
Me do it first.
Wow, that's cool.
This has been our presentation on the 5S system. This is our bibliography and resources and the book of what our team did this year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Over here, and if somebody wants to just grab the poster and bring it closer as well.
Did I miss anything?
Why don't you tell us what you...
Yeah.
Well, for later models, we were hoping if you could aim down, so you could also go downstairs.
I think, but didn't we plan, because that just was compatible with upstairs, but we planned to have like two. One was aiming down, one was aiming straight,
Yeah,
so
like
you
one
could
would be-
detect the ground, and then if that's missing, then you know you're going to go downstairs. And then if the other one detects it just plain, then you know that you're gonna go upstairs.
Because it vibrates,
Yeah.
so it either vibrates or it doesn't vibrate.
Mommy.
So how did you come up with the idea for using sensors?
We decided that we needed something that would be like visual without really being visual. So like you can see it, but your eyes don't see it. So we decided on a sensor that looked like eyes or had eyes, and that was ultrasound.
And also one that could actually work and vibrate.
Yeah.
And it was much cheaper than a camera. You had a camera that
Yeah,
did
and cameras can't really best at like detection.
And how did you go about finding it's interesting that you have a working prototype here. How did you find the parts that you put into that?
It was actually a kit, which me and my dad soldered together. We took out these two little eyes and put them into a board. I would take this apart, but I think I would ruin it. So, but yeah, the kit costs actually about $16, I think, and but because of upmark, it's only about $1.75 parts, I think.
So the kit was probably intended for just general detection.
Yeah, it was kind of like a learner's kit.
Okay.
Um,
And so that you took those pieces or that kit and came up with this application for it?
yes.
Great. And you have quite a few different sources here. How did you go about finding your sources?
We looked in internets, we looked at health books about stroke and specifically loss of depth perception.
And we really use like .orgs and
Yeah,
.gov.
.edus.
Yeah.
Okay. And I see you have a number of personal interviews that you did.
Yes.
Are these interviews with seniors?
We interviewed his grandma,
Yeah, my grandma,
his grandma,
Okay.
and then we also had all of them come in and be presented our project.
Yeah,
to
all of
them.
our grandparents were actually there at one point in time.
They're two were the senior partners.
And what did they think of your solution?
well, yeah.
Yeah, they liked it.
Did they try it for real?
Yes.
Like put it on
Yeah.
a shoe and try it? Cool. You have a few questions, Emily?
Yeah, so you had talked about the right side stroke and then all of the things that an older person may experience after having had that right side stroke. And then you decided to focus on the mobility and walking up the steps instead of eating or something to do with reading. How did you choose the step as the final issue?
We went to an optometrist, and before we had even presented our idea, she said, you would want to put a sensor on the shoe to help them go up and down the stairs, and this was before we even stated our idea to her. And then,
Oh, okay.
and then we said, yeah, that's what we were going to do. We also had planned on doing a hat one or a wrist one that you could like walk around in with sense tables, but we decided to narrow it down to the foot for now.
Okay. So you did consider other things.
And unfortunately, we kind of decided that it's be a bit hard to have a sensor like built into like a toothbrush or somehow detecting where your mouth is instead of where your eye is.
Sure, okay.
It looks like you got quite a bit of information from the optometrist, huh?
So I think it's also important to know stairs because stairs you can like fall, therefore, and like have serious injuries or even death possibly.
So tell me about Friendship Village. Who did you visit with there, or?
We
Oh,
visited-
that was Jenny Barlow. She is one of the people who supposed to like she's like a therapist kind of to help people who have right side stroke who can regain their depth perception, help them with the little puzzles like the finger trick.
And what did you visit with her about?
We visited with her to talk about some diseases that elderly can get, and we decided to focus on stroke because it was like it was a very common one.
Okay.
Before that, we were going to work on Alzheimer's, I think.
Yep.
It looks like you talked to her quite a bit about Alzheimer's, but that was really early on, back in September, so.
And like something that starts with a D, diphtheria or something like that.
Dementia
Yeah, dementia.
was the other one.
And does your solution exist today?
No, not really. There are a few like small kits which you can find in the little pockets of the internet, kind of geared towards it, but none of them are officially being mass produced.
If you have a less amount of depth perception, like you can still see, but it's a little bit harder for you. They do make glasses where it moves the image together so you can still see. But that's if you're very early stages of depth perception.
Yeah.
Now, often when you do a prototype, then you start to see problems and things you might want to work on and fix. Did you guys see things like that you would like to find a better solution for, or ways that you think you might be able to make it better in the future?
Well, we might be able to possibly make it smaller
Yeah.
because the thing's bulky. Like on this shoe, like it's about as big as my shoe.
And also, we could eventually pay a lot of money to get a metal cast mold so we can do plastic covers instead of this cheap little plyboard. Which,
It's a good prototype, though. It gives you a good idea of what it does.
So you did a lot of research on stroke. Do you know people who have had strokes?
My neighbor has had a stroke.
Well,
we
my
didn't
grand
really talk with anybody who had a stroke, but we did talk with people who had depth perception.
Lots, yeah.
because my grandpa at the moment he had like wasn't it like 4 or something strokes
No.
because I don't know, it was either 3, but my mom's been telling me about like because he has like heart problems and stuff, so he's at the moment in the hospital, I believe, because he's having lots of problems with heart and stroke and a bunch of stuff.
And did you know a lot about eyes or depth perception before you started this project?
Not really.
Okay. Well, it sounds like you learned a lot.
I have one more technical question about this. Is there, I think you said that it detects at about a foot. Is it pretty consistent so that somebody would know as soon as they feel that vibration how far they are away?
Well, it's not quite tuned yet.
It's not the best tuning, and I think it also narrows on how much juice is in the battery.
Oh, okay. Do you think that might be a problem for somebody using it for real? That might be something that your prototype shows that you might need to work on? I'm just thinking if you're used to it vibrating when your foot is this far away, what if all of a sudden it's vibrating when it's this far away instead? And it's then you would not know exactly where that step was. So. Okay, I was just curious about that. Anything else that you guys think we should know? Oh, okay. Anything else?
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks for coming in.
Yep.